Hi Dushan, today we are here trying to speak about Reduxi Controller. So can you please start and describe what Reduxi Controller is and which types of controllers we have and maybe some additional devices that we have?
Hi, Rock. Yes, I will go quickly through our portfolio of devices and explain, of course, also what actually a Reduxi controller is. So, Reduxi controller is basically the brain of the system, the brain of customers' energy system in his building, in his house, in his offices, in his industrial location. It connects to all the consumers on the location that can be controlled, for example, heat pumps, EV chargers, and it also connects to, let's call it green energy producing and storing solutions like solar power plant inverters or battery storage. What it then does, then it basically controls these locations according to the data that it gets from the grid meter and according to all the conditions that the user has set up for it, because different users of course have a different wishes what they want to achieve by using an EMS, from saving as much cost of the energy to maybe to being self-sufficient as possible, reducing their CO2 footprint and so on. We have basically two variants of controller. One is a normal controller that you can see on the top left. This is our normal controller, which is available in two different options, either as a standalone unit or as a unit that can be mounted on a DIN rail. This is a controller that is basically meant to control single family homes, smaller buildings with, I don't know, up to 10 connected devices. And it comes in a light, standard, and pro versions. The basic differences is that the light only controls up to three devices. Standard and pro are up to 10, and pro also has a SIM card slot if you would want to have an LTE connection to our backend system. And then we have Reduxi industrial version of the controller, which has many more functions, which has many more ports like digital input-output ports, MBUS, CAN, relay ports, and so on and so on. This is meant for bigger locations with a bigger amount of devices and also more complicated use cases that need all these other ports. And then we have two types of devices that are basically meant as an extension of the system. So one is our Reduxi gateway that adds additional RS485 ports. This is important if we want to, for example, control a heat pump or a device like this that is controlled via RS485 or via relay ports. And also that is not, for example, due to just physical reasons like being installed farther away, to be connected directly to the Reduxi controller. And the Reduxi P1 devices, these are devices that connect to customers' electricity meter, take the 1 second data from the electricity meter and forward it to Reduxi controller, so the Reduxi controller can work with this data. And one quite important part of the system that is not here but is not also physical is our Reduxi cloud, which then gets all the data from the controller. It displays it towards the customer in the either app or the web app, and also runs our AI technology, but more on that later.
Perfect. So we have a very big portfolio of devices. We are the producer of all of them. The question now, you already mentioned that we can connect to different devices like heat pumps, inverters, battery storage systems, and others. I saw the list of connected devices, so there are more than 300 devices possible. So if the end customer now having at his home different wall boxes and different inverters, you can manage to connect them all, or how should I see that option? So how would be the best way from the customer to go and check if they can use Reduxi for their setup?
The easiest way for the customer is to go to our knowledge base at support.reduxi.eu and just look at the list of the supported devices. Any device that is listed there will basically work out of the box with Reduxi. So when you're setting up Reduxi, you just choose this device, and it's a really quick process just to tell the Reduxi where this device is, and it will work out of the box. If it is not there, and this is sometimes interesting for our bigger partners, for example, battery manufacturers, then we have to basically get the communication protocols of that device, put it into our firmware, and then test it on location. And when everything is successful, then we can say that yes, this device has been integrated and is okay to use. So for the end customers, usually what happens is when they're talking to their installer or to their integrator, they just go through the list of the integrated devices and then just pick the device that fits the most, but is already on the list of the connected devices.
Okay,
this is
perfect.
basically it. And now it's, I would say, about we are close to 400, over 400, and these are hybrid inverters, normal PV inverters, normal batteries, EV chargers, grid meters, heat pumps, heating rods. So all the big devices, all the big consumers and producers that can be found within most either households or companies or locations like that.
Perfect. So, can you tell me more about how you can connect the controller and install the controller at your home? So, what do you need actually?
So usually this is something that the installer does when he installs the battery or the PV or something like that. But actually the process is quite simple. What you do is you download the Reduxi app, you register in it, so you basically have an account, and then you connect Reduxi device to the mains power, so it just powers up, and then you use basically application. The only step that you, let's call it unguided, that you have to do is to scan the QR code from within the app on our controller, and then the application guides you all the way through it, from setting up the location to adding the controller, to adding the devices. But actually we have a video that covers exactly that, so maybe it's best to see this video now and then we can discuss further.
Welcome to the Reduxi Controller Setup tutorial. In this video, we'll guide you through the simple process of connecting your new controller to your local network and setting it up for the first time. To begin, download and install the Reduxi app on your smartphone from the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. You can scan the QR code on the screen now to go directly to the download page. Next, let's get the hardware ready. Open the box and carefully unpack your new Reduxi controller and its power adapter. Connect the controller to a power supply. As it starts up, you will see the status lights begin to blink. Let's take a moment to understand what these lights mean. The first light, marked with a lightning bolt, is the power status. When this is solid green, it means the power supply is active and working correctly. If it is red, there is a power supply error. Please make sure the adapter you are using has compatible specifications. The second light is the system status. A solid green light here means the system is running. If it's blinking green, the controller's hotspot is active. A solid red would indicate a system error. The third light indicates your network connection. A solid green light confirms that your network connection is okay. If this light is blinking green, there's a network connection error. If it's off, there is no connection at all. And finally, the fourth light is the device status. If you ever see a blinking red light here, it means an error has been detected in a device connected to your controller. Once the controller is powered on and the lights show it's ready, open the Reduxi app on your phone. It's time to create your account. Follow the on-screen instructions in the registration wizard to register and log in. The next step is to define a location on which your Reduxi controller is installed. In the menu, select Add Location, and then tap Configure Controller. You'll be prompted to enter a name for your location and select your country and region to continue the setup process. After setting your location, you will connect your phone directly to the controller. The camera will start in the app automatically, then simply scan the QR code found on the label on the bottom of your controller. The app will use this to connect to the controller's temporary Wi-Fi hotspot. Go ahead and confirm the connection when prompted. The app will then search for and find your Reduxi device. Verify that the serial number displayed on the screen matches the one on your controller's label, and then tap Next to continue. Now it's time to connect your controller to your home's network. Choose either wired LAN connection, which we recommend, or Wi-Fi, depending on your home network setup. In case of Wi-Fi connection, enter your home Wi-Fi username and password. After that, complete configuration. For the simplest and most reliable setup, we recommend choosing Automatic IP DHCP. Once the app confirms that the configuration was successful, press Confirm Configuration to move to the final steps. In this step, you'll need to enter some basic data about your home's electric grid connection. Enter the values for your circuit breakers, known as fuses, and any import or export power limits that have been assigned by your grid operator. This information is crucial for the system to operate correctly. To complete the process, tap Save. The app will now finalize the configuration, saving your settings to both the controller and your cloud account. Please wait a few moments for this to finish. Congratulations! Your Reduxi controller is connected and ready to add measuring and controller devices, such as EV chargers, solar power plants, or batteries to it. You can click Add Devices to do that, or just finish the configuration and add devices later. The basic configuration of your Reduxi device is now complete.
Perfect. So we have a video about the setup and installation. The question now about the specific scenarios. What can the end customer actually do with our controller? So how to set up specific scenarios? Can you tell me something about this in the app?
Yes. So basically, controller comes within let's call it the predetermined set of conditions that you can use. And let me just jump into our and show you how basically it would be done. It is quite simple. I will jump to a location that actually already exists, but we will jump to exactly. So this is one location you can see here. It has a solar power plant. It has a grid connection. It has an EV charger. It doesn't have a battery, but it doesn't matter. And now I will connect just to the location itself. Now it will look like we are connected directly to the controller itself on the location. So basically, when you would go through the process that we saw on the previous video, when you would have added those devices that are in the system that you can see on the left, you would then come to this screen, and then you would say, okay, now what do I want to do with these devices? That is, as you already suggested, done by strategies. Here, two strategies already exist, but we will ignore them. So basically, you just say add strategy, you name it, and then you say which devices will I control. And I say I will control the car charger, I will control the solar power plant. Just drag and drop. Where is the measurement data? It's on the main meter. And by this, basically, we have set up the main thing, or the only thing is also to set up the fuses, but as this is in existing locations, they are already set, and then we can go save it, and then we can go to basically, now we will, with the optimizations mode, just tell it what do we want to do. We can say, okay, we can do a basic schedule. So for example, just charge the car from this hour to this hour, or just charge the battery from this hour to this hour. We can optimize everything. So battery, charger, or anything else based on the dynamic prices and also other factors. But basically on the dynamic prices, we will look at the dynamic prices a little bit later. So we can say, only charge my car when this is the cheapest period within the day. So I plug in my car when I come home, and the system will choose when to charge it, so it's as cheap as possible. And we have multiple of this possible optimization modes. It can also be controlled by an external control if needed. But the most interesting one is our AI Energy Manager. This is our premium solution, which carries a subscription. But that basically combines everything that is actually within this location. So solar, battery, everything. We say we want to earn minimally some amount of money for each kilowatt hour of battery that is used. Why? Because each kilowatt hour of battery used costs something, because the battery has its own amortization, because every cycle depletes battery a little bit. And basically, we just confirm it. And now the system will look at the day-ahead prices. It will look at the forecast of how the solar will work in next 24 to 36 hours, so solar irradiation. It will also look at the customer behavior from the past. So it will kind of know or guess when the customer comes home and plugs in the car and so on and so on. And then it will basically produce a forecast of what will happen on this location. How does it look like? Let's jump to one location like that, and we will see how it looks like. We will jump to one location that has this enabled, and we will see how it looks when the forecast is made. So this is a location, for example, that has battery, that has solar, that has everything, and we can see that the system has made a forecast. This lighter part of the graph on the left side is what has already happened today, and the grayer part on the right side is actually the forecast on how the system will work. On the bottom, we can see the electricity prices, and then the system calculates from the production of the solar power plant, which is yellow, and of course forecasted production, and also from the prices and everything else. Also, it predicts the load, this green stuff, or this green line on the location. It predicts how to save as much money or how to earn as much money as possible from this location. So when you come to our AI strategy, the main thing is first optimize it cost-wise. The second thing is optimize self-sufficiency-wise. So keep as much energy as possible on the location to reduce the CO2 footprint. These are the two main, first the cost factor, then the sustainability factor.
So perfect. Thank you very much for this. As I understood correctly, so you can connect to dynamic tariffs, you can use AI models, which actually learns about your consumption throughout the day and your devices, how you are using them. Also get the weather prediction data and have a forecast about it. What can you say about the cost savings for such customer? What can he save on average, or what are your experience with this topic?
This really depends on the market and on the prices on the market. Some markets with, for example, less penetration of renewable sources like solar or wind, and more of let's call it kind of a static sources like nuclear or coal, have less differences in price between the most expensive and the least expensive period during the day. And then there the savings would mostly be on the grid fees and so on, and on storing solar production into battery and selling it when it's most profitable on the market. But then these savings would probably be somewhere in the range of 10, 20, something like that %. On the other hand, you have markets that have really big differences. For example, today when we are doing this, and it's only beginning of March, I've checked some markets, and the difference between lowest and highest price within the day is up to 30 cents. And sometimes during the summer, it can be even more. So 100 kilowatt hour battery, for example, it is quite big difference if you discharge this 100 kilowatt hours at 6 cents. So that would be for 100 kilowatt hours, €6. Or if you discharge it in the grid at 23 cents. So you can basically at one cycle, you earn 18 euros, and you can do 2 free cycles a day. And on locations like that, yeah, the savings can be 30, 40, even more percent. So it also depends on the grid fees and on the peaks that you would do if you wouldn't have control over the battery and over your loads. That can bring savings that for the big locations are in thousands of euros per month. So yeah, optimization can bring quite a lot of benefits. The range is anywhere from 10 to 40 or even more percent, but it of course depends on the market. That's why we have a small tool which is called the battery calculator, with which we can check, or the installers can use it to check before they suggest a configuration to the customer what exactly the financial effect would be specifically on that market, specifically on that location.
Okay, so if I understood correctly, we have the tool how to calculate the size of the battery that you would like to install. It's maybe more relevant for commercial and industrial sectors, so CNI.
Exactly.
And I think the savings you were mentioning are more related to CNI. So the video was also about B2C, so the base case of the end customer. What can you see at the end customer level? What are the savings in hundreds, couple of hundreds euros per year or per month? I don't know. Do you have some?
For let's call it, for some house-sized battery that is, I don't know, for let's say 20, 30, 40 kilowatt hours, the savings, again, depending on the market, depending on what happens with the prices, would be from several hundred to over 1,000 euros, maybe even more per year. So, for example, if you already have a battery and the solar, and you just want to optimize it with Reduxi, when compared to the price of the Reduxi, this could be basically paid back in a few months to a year. If this customer would be thinking about supplementing his solar power plant with battery plus Reduxi EMS, that is a payback time of 2, 3, 4 years, again, depending on the market and depending what happens with the prices.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so I think that's more or less it from my side. Do you want to tell something else? Do we have something else that we need to talk about, or?
Maybe we could add, of course, that it is not just a question of what happens right now if you start using Reduxi in a year, in 2 years, and how can you save the money right now. One of the points of using Reduxi controller is that it's future-proof. So basically, if you would add, for example, vehicle-to-grid charger, or if you would switch your energy supplier to somebody that offers dynamic prices, or even if you would decide to join an independent aggregator that would use your location to offer grid services to the grid operator, Reduxi already supports all this. So basically, it would be just a question of connecting to their systems and signing a contract with them, and then you could start saving even more or getting even more revenues from these sources. And this is one of the bigger things, because in the end, the investment in that kind of a energy ecosystem for the location, solar with batteries, is something that has a lifespan of 10 plus years. And having then an energy management system that cannot look that far into the future, that cannot provide all the data, all the control, and all the business models that will happen in this time, of course, is not a correct solution.
Perfect.
Best is to take something that will work also in the future.
To wrap up, Reduxi is ready for the future. We can see energy communities or energy sharing platforms for the future. We can now connect already the AI manager who learns about your specific consumption, production, and everything, optimizes everything, also on the electrical prices on the energy stock exchange and energy exchange, and so forth and so on. So it's very exciting times. Where should I get some more information about Reduxi? How can I get one?
Of course, on our website, and of course through all the retailers that carry Reduxi, or just ask your installer about.
Just ask
they
your
will
installer
probably
about
right
it.
now
And
already. Yes.
they will find us. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you, Dusan. See you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Rok. Bye-bye.
Bye.